Hello people, and welcome to a video showcasing everything new with the Plazas and Promenades expansion for Cities Skylines. In this video we're going to run over every new asset, everything that comes with the pack, alongside the free patch that is coming for everyone as well. If you haven't seen it, I have made the official tutorials for Plazas and Promenades over on the Cities Skylines channel. I will leave those videos linked down below in case you need to know how to use Plazas and Promenades, then those tutorials will walk you through everything that you do need to know. And for those that are watching this on the Wednesday premiere, sort of the live airing of the episode if you like, we will be live immediately after this episode in New York to pedestrianize some of the downtown. So do go ahead and check out the live stream after the fact if you aren't catching it live. We'll just sort of showcase the DLC in action. But before we do get started, I am an official Instant Gaming partner. I do have a partner link down below, which does help support the channel. And you can find really cheap, legitimate codes on Instant Gaming for your favourite games. So thank you so much if you do end up using the link. It really does help support me. But of course, Plazas and Promenades is all about plazas and promenades, okay? We can now make pedestrianised spaces in cities, which is so good. Like, this is such a good pack. If you've maybe skipped out the last few DLCs, definitely don't skip this one. It's great, alright? So, here we have our three variants of Pedestrian Road, and you will see that in each of the three variants there are sort of 5 different designs, if you like. So we have our sandstone designs here, which are very clearly sort of white and creamy. We then have bluestone, which is essentially blue stone, alright. And then we have cobblestone, which is a slight variation and more of that typical sort of European cobble pattern that we're all quite familiar with. Each of these roads does have an elevation step. You can see this is what an elevated pedestrian road will look like. Again, pretty similar, add some nice layers of walkable height. And then you'll also notice that there are essentially large versions of each of these small roads as well. Each of the 3 themes across the 5 different styles of road. And these trees here, you will notice that they do function in line with the airport's update. We can upgrade the trees on these pedestrian pathways, both small and large, into a tree that we like. And you will also notice that there is a bus lane variant of each of the 3 roads, both small and large as well. And again, this will just allow bus lines to come down, where you can also use a new compact bus station, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So these are all your new networks that you'll be playing with as part of the DLC. There are 3 roads in the patch, we'll cover those towards the end of the video. But yeah, these are your pedestrian roads in all their different styles, variations and elevations, and trees can be changed on them at will. So lots of new designs to be had here. So next up we're going to take a look at the service point buildings. You will notice that when you do click on your pedestrian area management screen, you will see service point usages. It's these buildings that affect these values. So we first start off with a small pedestrian area service point. The general pedestrian area service points will handle both cargo and garbage. You'll see that the large one has 15 cargo trucks. And then if we check the large cargo service point, you'll see that it has 30. So you can cover all bases with pedestrian area service points, but if you're finding that maybe it needs more cargo or indeed more garbage service, then you have options to specialize into those as well if you want. But every single area will need these, alright? It's how garbage is collected from the area and how goods are delivered to it. So you will need to place these down. So there's a little small one here, the large variant, and then we've got the small cargo one compared to the large cargo one. And it has to be said, they're really nice assets as well. Like, they don't look like cargo or garbage service points. They're quite modern. We can definitely get away with integrating these onto a high street, maybe behind the pedestrian area, making it part of the build. Lots of possibilities here. And then lastly, we have the small and large garbage service points, which again, props for them to not making them like just another landfill looking site. They don't look like they collect garbage. So it makes them a lot more integratable, for lack of a better word, I think, into the build. And they do sit together quite nicely as well. You can see the differentiation between the 2 different assets here side by side. But if you do want them next to each other, then indeed they do sort of work in that fashion. So very nice, huge fan of this. Next up, we will have a look at all of your new plazas. These are basically new parks, and they appear under their own tab for pedestrian area plazas, away from kind of your regular vanilla plazas, if you like. So there's a few different types and sort of designs here. We've got a flower plaza, which is really cute looking. This works really nicely with the new wall-to-wall specialization stuff. Really cute. Then got small food truck, which again is utilising some old vanilla assets and some new planters as well, alongside some new food trucks. We do get these as props. Then we have the ice cream plaza. This one's really nice. Okay, it's kind of bright in its decals, but you can make it work. There's some nice designs to be had here, I think. Then we have a large fountain plaza, which is a big 5x5 plaza, which is really appreciated to have some smaller ones. I think it's even 6x6, is it? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, so it's nice to have a big 6x6 plaza in, something a bit bigger. And really cute, lots of lindens on it, new planters and these new fountains with the new lights too. Really nice plaza design, huge fan of this one. And then we do also have a small fountain plaza as well, which again is sort of a smaller variant of the large fountain plaza, as you would expect. Then we have the statue plaza, which is sort of a slightly deeper one. It's got a little bit of gravel on there, some bench decals, little pagoda things and a statue. It's not too bad looking, it's alright. And then we have the new types of plaza, which are ones that sit on both sides of the road, so you notice as you move these around, these sort of occupy both sides of the lane. And yeah, it just has a plaza, but it functions on both sides of the road, which is cool. I guess it saves you placing two of them opposite each other, but I'm sure there's many variations and designs to be had with these. Yeah, it's just a food truck plaza. There's some of the new decals, some of the new props, new food trucks, etc. And then likewise again, same vein with the large ice cream stand plaza. It's got some of those new props on it. Some of the super colourful bright decals here. This would give the 1980s a run for its money, wouldn't it? Very bright, very bold. But it's there, and it's cute. It's got some of the new fountains on it. We then move into my favourite new plaza, which is the large glass roof plaza. So this comes in two variants. It comes in a small glass roof plaza and a large glass roof one as well. And yeah, they have little steps on them. They sit over the middle of the road, and they're just glass roof plazas. There's not too much more to say about them. But the large one has these little water jets on the front of it, which are just tremendous. I absolutely love these. These are really cool. Again, you would have seen these in function on the Cities channel. I'll throw some sort of general B-roll footage up for you on screen here today as well, so you can see how they look in a proper setting, but huge fan of the new plazas. Lots of action to be had here. Otherwise, let's check out the new service buildings. Okay, so first of all, we will check out these new schools. So we have the high capacity elementary school. This will hold 800 people. You compare that to a regular vanilla school, which holds 300 people. These things are much bigger and will hold much more people, hence their name high capacity. Likewise with the high school, this one will hold 2,400. Its base game counterpart will hold 1,000. So huge increases in size here. Then likewise with the the high school university, the high capacity university, sorry, it has 10,000 capacity, which is enormous. And then if we compare that to its base game counterpart of 4,500. So lots more high capacity education schools, and they're very, very distinct looking, very blocky, quite Scandinavian almost for some reason. I don't know why. I've never been to Scandinavia, but it reminds me of Scandinavia for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I've seen it on a TV show. But you're seeing a lot of these very bright patterns coming in again all around the sides of it. There's also a little interior sort of area here with a basketball court and a swing set for the kids. And really neat looking assets. Likewise again with the high school one. Just super bold colour schemes, very blocky, very modern looking. There's some little tables up at the top here as well, which is nice. Always like seeing these little points of detail on the buildings. They make a real difference when you're down at the street view. So yeah, that one's pretty nice also. And then the university over here too. It's got a little walkway through it, where you've got some more detailing up along the back, which is nice. And then yeah, just another blocky, bright, colourful building. Almost sponsored by Lego in a way. They're just very blocky, aren't they? But they're very distinct, and they're very different from anything we've had before, which I think is what I appreciate about them. We can definitely bring these into downtowns when we need that education demand, right? Super cool, huge fan of these new service building assets. And continuing service buildings, we will take a look at the new fire, health and police. So here we have a high capacity hospital. We can compare this to its base game counterpart, which holds 500, and this one will hold 800 for you. You can of course also change the vehicle here should you be playing with vehicles of the world. So you can get that in there too. We have the high capacity fire station, which again has 40 capacity within its firehouse compared to the base game one of 6. So again, it's another really blocky, super cool looking asset, and same thing with the hospital as well. Sorry, it's kind of glossed over the hospital there. This is my favourite asset out of the entire pack. Very nice modern looking hospital. And it's got that big blocky modular feeling to it. You could possibly fuse a few of these together with Move It as well, really bulk it out, create an enormous hospital complex. Really happy with that, super cool hospital. And likewise with the fire station again as well. Very bright, modular and blocky looking buildings. Also appreciation for some prop detail on the side of it as well. Then our last service building here is the high capacity police headquarters, which will hold 80 and 40 prisoners. Is that right? No, criminals is 80 and 40 police cars. We'll have a look at the base game counterpart, which will hold 10 patrol car capacity. And how many prisoners does this one have? 10 compared to 40. Yeah, so again, it's just a high capacity. Much higher numbers in these. It's not quite as bold as the other service assets, the police station. It's like, you know, you can kind of see it. It really breaks the mold, doesn't it, of the new sort of assets here. But it's nice. It's a new, more modern looking police station. It's definitely better than the vanilla one, which is a little bit cartoonish almost sometimes. Yeah, new police station. Very nice. Huge fan of it. Let's now head into the unique buildings. So there are 6 new uniques that come. The first one here is the Pedestrian Street Market Hall, which is very cute. Okay, so this has walkable space underneath it, and then you can actually tether a new pedestrian road off the edge of it and then sort of link it in. So you will see people walking underneath this. Again, if you want to see it in action, there's links down below to the official Cities tutorials. But yeah, really nice asset. The squirrel riding the donut is a little bit obnoxious. I don't know. Definitely wants a little bit of bob, I think, doesn't it? Wouldn't have been my choice for a prop here, but it's Cities Skylines at the end of the day, isn't it? They do like their bright pink creatures. Next up, we have the Museum of Postmodern Art, which again is a very bright building. Super colourful decals littered all over this thing. And I guess it is a museum of postmodern art, isn't it? I'm not an artsy person, so I can't exactly verify whether or not this is postmodern, but it's modern at least, isn't it? It's very, very bright. That's cool, and again, it's just a unique building, so it's going to draw tourists and visitors into the area, alongside really spiking land value. Next up we have the Sunken Plaza Shopping Mall, which is my favourite unique building because it has layers of depth. Yes please everyone. And one of the biggest things I praised about Bad Peanuts train station pack was the sort of layers of depth that it gave us into the ground. I didn't really realise that was missing in cities, having things go underground and seeing things function down there. So this unique building is exactly that. It's very cool, really nice. And yeah, you'll see people move around the different layers. It's really cool. You do see people take the stairs. It's nice. Huge fan of it. Then we have the commercial zone landmark, which again is another sort of big glass office looking building that's got these bright colourful decals plastered at almost sides of it. Yeah, really just the front, isn't it? But yeah, it's got a little plaza fountain design out the front using some of the new props, food truck in there as well. So if you're looking to add a little bit of a commercial zone landmark into your commercial areas, this building will do exactly that for you. Next up is the residential one. Again, it's a residential zone landmark. Very blocky, bright, colourful buildings. Again, you're seeing the theme starting to repeat quite heavily in this pack, aren't you now? Yeah, it's got a little bit of prop detailing, a little swing set, a little sand pit in there. Little bench and flower beds and whatnot from Park Life. And yeah, it's a nice little blocky building. It's really cool. Again, possibilities of using this together with Move It and creating different angles within your cities. Very nice. And then lastly, but not least, is the office zone landmark, which is a big glass front office space. Has these sort of green and blue decals around the trim of it, which is quite nice. It's also got some sort of archways in here as well that aren't quite filled in with material, so they are just sort of archways that frame the actual bulk of the building, which is really nice. I'm a huge fan of this. Very nice indeed. Yeah, so there's some really nice unique buildings, if not a little bit garish like the Modern Art Museum. But yeah, lots of nice, distinct, unique buildings is what we like to see, and we're getting plenty of them with plazas and promenades. Next up, we will take a look at the props. So there is a fair few of these. You will find these under your park menu, under the pedestrian areas tab. Come to pedestrian area plazas, and as you scroll through, you will encounter all of these props here. You'll see them all over the new assets, and of course you can now place them down, and we finally have placeable fountains, which is the best thing ever. Yes, please, everyone. So these are our new fountains and sculptures that can be placed as props. Some more here, there's a little cube. You'll notice the cube is the one that's in this asset here, so you'll be able to sort of repurpose those assets and maybe make your own with the new decals and stuff. There is 6 new benches, which are all really nice looking. They kind of got little flowers and cactus on them, and you'll see them here. Just modern park bench too. So lots of new benches to play with, so that's always nice for detailing. Alongside a selection of new lights here as well. There's 4 new ploppable lights that you can use, and again you'll notice that they are just the lights that sit on the pedestrian pathway. They're kind of this little almost T or Y looking light. It's nice and modern, it's quite cute. There's some new plants here as well, sort of little bush ones and a little planter. And then we move on to these little sort of pagoda looking cover props. What are they called? Pergolas, these ones are called. Yes, there's 3 variants of it, and it's just a nice little cover. And this is going to be really good for decorating your public transport stops, so it looks like they actually have kind of like a little cover over them. Really happy to see these in the game as props, so get plenty of use out of these. Alongside a couple of modern looking sculptures, we've kind of got this giant causeway rainbow looking thing, like the rainbow causeway maybe you can call it. But again, it's maybe postmodern art, is it? I don't know. Maybe any postmodern art fans in the comments can let us know. And then there's also sort of like a little moon shape with a ball in there as well. That's just a little prop. So it's nice to have some kind of more fountain and statuey looking props that we don't really have in the vanilla game at the minute, outside of the workshop. So really cool. I like these. Nice prop collection. And then there's also 2 new food trucks and 2 new ice cream stands that can be used in pretty much similar vein as to what you would use your park life stuff with, right? You know, you've now got more options rather than just hot dog stands and ice cream trucks for sort of open public space detailing, if you like. Very nice new props. And then we do have all of the new decals, again, which will be found at the end of all your props here. There are 30 new ones, and they're very bright. They are very bright. You are also getting your base game, or the pedestrian road covers here as well, I should add. So for example, if you have a bluestone paver, let's sort of put this into action. So we've got a sandstone road here. I do have sandstone paver, so if I wanted to maybe cover up a little bit of the grass that sort of sits either side of the plaza, I do actually have access to the sandstone tiles, so you could easily fill these spaces out and create something like that, okay? However, outside of those sort of pedestrian road decals, the other ones are extremely bright. And I'm kind of looking forward to what everyone's going to do with these, because it kind of looks like Sims 2 wallpaper, doesn't it? I don't think if there's any Sims 2 fans in the chat. It's a little bit Sims wallpapery. Very bright, but I'm sure the community will be able to do something with them. But either way, that is the props that you will receive with plazas and promenades. And we will now come into public transport stuff, where we are greeted with the compact bus station. So this is the smallest transport hub that's now available in the game. Allows you to converge 4 bus lines within a very tight space. So really cool. Should be noted that this compact bus station can only be placed on pedestrian bus roads. It will not allow you to place it on a pedestrian road that isn't a bus lane, so just be wary of that. Then we have the new elevated metro station with shops, which is just fantastic, isn't it? Wonderful modelling on this. I also believe that the colours on the outside of the station, they will change based on every placement. Yeah, so you see this one we've placed now is blue. One down for the demonstration video is red. So colours will change every time you place it. But in terms of asset modelling, I love the little signs on the front of it. This is such a much more appealing metro station for like metropolitan areas, especially in downtowns and stuff. You can see there's a little decal through there as well for station information and tickets. Really nice looking asset. Huge fan of the new metro station. We then get the compact metro station, which is very compact indeed. This asset is, what's that, 1x3? Super small. However, if we do come underground, you will notice it does have 2 tracks with 4 ends on the end of it. So you can squeeze in a lot of metro convergence in a really small space. So I really like the new parallel underground metro station. And then the one on the opposite end of that is the large underground metro station, which you will see has a crisscrossing configuration rather than parallel with its metro tracks. So it's another configuration. It's a 3x3 asset to place on the surface. And again, it's modern, it's bright, it's got those decals on it, and it's nice. It's not the worst looking metro station in the world. It gives us variation at least. It really blends in with the rest of the pack here as well. We then have a new type of metro track, which is a metro one way. So this is now just the alternate version of your train lines, where we did get the one-way train track added in. We can now do it with metro as well. So you can slightly refine the flow of your metro lines if you want to split them into one-way networks. There's evidence of us doing this in the Noob's Guide, just to sort of bulk out the network. So we'll probably end up using this for something similar. Again, it has a on-the-ground and elevated version as well. And then finally, in the public transport, we come to the new elevated train station, which again kind of holds similar vibes to the metro station with its sort of stained glass paneling. We get that over here again too. Again, this one, every time it's placed, it does change its colour. And yeah, it's a new train station. It's elevated, so it'll work nicely, especially with a lot of Bad Peanuts train station assets, if you have those from the content creator pack. But otherwise, that's it for sort of ploppable assets. Now let's take a look at the wall-to-wall stuff, and then we'll have a look at the maps and all the free patch additions as well. Okay, so now let's have a look at the wall-to-wall stuff. So this is a new specialization that will be found under your districts areas. It can be applied to commercial and residential and office zoning. There is no industrial wall-to-wall specialization, if you like. So you can apply this not only to a regular district, which is just a regular tool, you can also apply it directly to pedestrian areas. So you'll see that we have our districts tool here. We have pedestrian areas, which is this side, and a regular district over here. And both of these types of areas can have wall-to-wall applied to them, which is very nice. So let's make sure we give them all of it, okay? So we'll go ahead and make sure that they have commercial wall-to-wall and residential wall-to-wall. Then, once you zone in those respective zonings within the spaces, you will notice that they do come in as wall-to-wall buildings. As far as I can tell, there is no differentiation in assets between high and low density. Wall-to-wall is wall-to-wall regardless of whether or not you zone low or high density, okay? The zone itself no longer specifies sort of low or high density. It becomes residential wall-to-wall buildings. Same here again as well. You can see the two different types of zoning. Doesn't really differentiate against them. But what we are greeted with is a wonderful collection of new and interesting assets. There is a ton of them, too many for me to show in the video. There's like 148 new buildings or something like that across commercial, residential and office zoning. But my goodness me, what a wonderful difference these make, right? Love the addition of wall-to-wall. That gives such a nice density vibe that we can't achieve in cities without Move It. And it's just great, isn't it? Great. Again, some of the assets, they are quite bold, and every time one of these spawns in as well, they do spawn with slightly different patterns on them, so the murals that you can see will be different every time you place them in. Which again, adds variation. This is one of my favourites here. This is a really cool one. So this is a residential one. Just really nice. really, really cool. We'll see some more grow up here together. Okay, so you see how it's kind of like a little complex, but it's all one asset. They're very nice. You can play with these across residential, commercial, and office zone like we've mentioned. And yeah, you just have much more interesting looking suburbs, commercial and office zoning. It's a really nice change from the regular pace. See some of the commercial ones here. A little bit nicer, aren't they? Sort of a little bit black and covered in glass. But anyway, this is wall-to-wall specialization. Okay, you will see many examples of this in the official cities video. Yeah, there's a lot to get involved with here. So play with it, see what you think. There's lots of combinations. Imagine fusing some of these apartment complexes together and kind of getting like condos in the vanilla game. It's almost like a medium density, isn't it? I think that's the best way I can describe it. I really like it anyway. So yeah, there's your wall-to-wall stuff. You'll be able to play with this in plazas and promenades. So now let's have a look at what is coming with the free updates, and fans of Vanilla Plus Road Collection on the Steam Workshop will be very happy with what is coming here. So we have 6 new small roads to be playing with. We have a 2-lane road with sidewalks, which is this one here. We have the 2-lane with median, which is the one next to it. And then we have a grass median. We then have a treed median as well, of course. These can be all upgraded. And then this is amazing. We have a compact 4-lane road. This is so good. This is amazing. This is the free patch. Everyone is getting these, alright? This isn't just DLC. So super cool to have a compact 4-lane road. And then we also have the 4-lane road with bus lanes on here as well. Also notice that there are 3 new variants of the one-way road, where we have the one-way with wide sidewalks. We finally have a 3-lane one-way road in the base game now, alongside a 4-lane one-way road as well. So this is great for lane mathematics, for roundabouts, highway exits, just lots of nice stuff to be done here now. Much more efficient one-way networks without always having to rely on either 2 or 6-lane one-way roads. We now have the variants in between. Great news, so happy about these. And then we have some new large roads as well. So we have the 6-lane with the median in the middle, the 6-lane with the median grass, 6-lane with median trees, and then of course 6-lane with median trees and bus lanes as well. So again, it's just so refreshing. And of course don't forget all these can be upgraded as well, as per the airport's patch. Be able to change the trees on these to whatever you like. But again, God, it's so welcome to have the medians in the middle here. And really focusing on bus transport as well. Really cool. Just so appreciative of the fact that we've got some free roads as part of a free update. This has been so long awaited in Cities to wait 7 years for these. It's, yeah, it was a wait, wasn't it? It was a long time needed. And then speaking of bus transport, the new highway roads are all bus themed. You'll also notice they've updated the icons of the roads as well. Even though these look like new roads, these are still your 2-lane highways. They've just changed the little icon. But yes, we do have a highway express ramp at Highway Road 2-directional, alongside Highway Road 1-directional with and without sound barriers as well, of course. And then we do have our new highway bus lane roads. I don't really see a vast amount of use with these. I don't really tend to put bus lines on my highways. That tends to be supported by like trains or metro alongside the highway. But I guess we can now. We can really specialise our highways. Also noted as well that intercity buses, they will use the bus roads on your highways, so I guess it's useful for that. But yeah, there's now a collection of bus highways if you want to experience them. That's what you can look forward to, with the free patch at least. So the first of the new maps is called Cape Apple. It is a temperate themed map with all outside connections and a 64% buildable area. Its terrain is extremely flat around your 9 and 25 tile radiuses. You only really encounter some larger mountains and ocean within your 81 tile radius as well. And for those interested in fishing, you will mainly be catching shellfish and salmon, although of course this can be changed with terraforming. And for those looking at natural resources, you have a fair amount of fertile land, with very small amounts of oil and ore dotted across the map as well. And this is a fairly sensible, very playable, temperate map. You do have this large landmass which boasts some sort of Manhattan Island vibes, alongside some fairly tall bridge spice. Again, you can change this if you need, but there's no horrific connections out here. Most slopes are fairly sensible. There is also the possibility here where it looks like the map has been prepared so you can terraform out a shallower lake that sits within the map into kind of the main body of water, so you could interconnect the two waterways if you wanted to. There is some nice wide riverways also to take advantage of here, without any too severe vanilla riverbank terraforming going on. It's all fairly playable around this side. They've also got some little abandoned houses in here as well, which is quite nice. And there's also some more factories over in the corner as well. So there is some vanilla detail in here, but not vast amounts of it. There are some nice beachfronts to take advantage of here, even some small little islands. So maybe you could get creative with the pedestrian areas over here. There's definitely possibilities with this coast. But otherwise, Cape Apple, it's a fairly sensible, temperate themed map. It's not going to be the most beautiful one you're ever likely to play, but it does a job. It's a sensible theme. It's a nice buildable map. It's not a bad one, Cape Apple. Middle of the road, temperate. The second map that you will be playing with is called Coastal Gem. It is a tropical themed map with all of its outside connections and a 57% buildable area. Taking a look at the terrain, the vast majority of the landmass is fairly buildable, with some more rolling hills to the north and almost the entire southern half of the map being ocean. Taking a look at our fishing graphic, you will be playing with a ton of shellfish here alongside some anchovy action as well, and your natural resources are split pretty evenly across the board, if not for a little bit more ore compared to the oil, and some fairly sized fertile land knocking about as well. And one thing I think we should acknowledge about Coastal Gem is this first multi-layer of height colossal order 4-way interchange, which is huge. So, huge love for some extreme custom interchanges in the maps for the first time. Big fan of this one. There are also a couple of tropical looking waterways located inland as well, so you will have some lakeside opportunities and also some terraforming work to do here to perhaps connect them all together. But however, the real meat and potatoes of this build lies within its coastlines. It does have some very tropical white sandy beaches. You will need to perhaps terraform a little bit of the cliff work here if you want to kind of get some major tourism waterfronts going. Or indeed, you could keep it as a sort of rural tropical beach if you wanted to, you know, maybe some hidden gems where the locals come to get away from the tourists. And some of the islands out in the coast are a decent size, so you could possibly get some little island communities going out here as well if you wanted to. Perhaps only pedestrian roads, no cars allowed on these islands might be quite fun. But apart from that, Coastal Gem, it's essentially the tropical version of Cape Apple. It's a nice, flat, noob-friendly, super buildable map in the tropical theme with some coastline opportunities and some beach work to be done here as well. Probably not the best ever tropical map you're likely to see from an expansion, but definitely not the worst either. I'm a fan of Coastal Gem. There's some nice opportunities to be had in this map. Next up is probably the most unique of the new maps, and this is Gondola Islands. It is a European themed map with all available outside connections and a 34% buildable area, which is one of the lowest in the game. Taking a look at its terrain, it is extremely unique and very flat across all of its land masses, with of course the vast majority of the map being water. Its natural resources boast huge pockets of fertile land, with some very interesting opportunities for ore extraction, with some of the islands being entirely littered with ore, so perhaps a ore-themed mining build that encapsulates an entire island here. And taking a look at the fish, it is very much anchovy and shellfish time. And the map does take after its name, doesn't it? It is very much Gondola Islands. You will need a gondola to transfer to all of these islands, but the possibilities here for a walkable city that is split across all of these islands is very, very promising. There is again perhaps some more terraforming opportunities between the waterways where you could indeed bring through those water and split the islands apart even more, whilst the main landmass does have a river flowing through it alongside your starting tile, with lots of forestry and fertile land, and also a little bit of vanilla detailing near the bottom of the rail line. But really, in Gondola Islands, you're going to want to be paying attention to the islands here. There's lots of different opportunities. They're all sensibly terraformed and sized. There's different beachfronts on each side of the island, and it's just interesting. This map does remind me a lot of the Archipelago, I believe, from, was it Natural Disasters that one came with? But yeah, lots of Shattered Island vibes, and indeed some very interesting builds to be had with this one. Definitely one of the more interesting European-themed maps, and you will have fun with Gondola Islands. The fourth map is Oracle Lake, which is a boreal-themed map with all of its outside connections and a 78% buildable area. Taking a look at your natural resources, a pretty even split again of most things, with ore primarily dominating the resource map. Your terrain throughout the middle and probably your 9-tile radius is fairly friendly for building. However, to the north, east and south you will meet some pretty significant mountain spaces. And take a look at the fishing, we do have a mix of everything here, so fishers can rejoice. Now, I do always love a boreal themed map, and this, it kind of has throwbacks to Murky Coast for those that enjoyed our Palavin series over on the Campus DLC map. Yeah, there's little hints of it here, I think. Some of the ridges that lead up from the waterways are very reminiscent of Murky Coast. We also have some riverside rail action, which is very nice. I'm always happy to see these sort of nicely planned networks. It does sort of meander into the map for you to use. Unfortunately, we are greeted with regular old vanilla three-way intersections, so you definitely want to replace these at some point. And there's definitely some really cool lake opportunities at the foot of all these ridges. There is some exposed beach over here too. So there's lots of ideas to get involved with here, but the mountains that we talked about at the start in the various points of the compass are pretty significant spaces, so you won't be having the most amount of buildable space here, but certainly room for perhaps some more rural communities to lie within the foothills of Oracle Lake. And you will also find some gentle spots of vanilla detailing around the map, including some little jetties and castle ruins over at the foot of the main mountain range. But Oracle Lake is a nice boreal themed map, probably not the best boreal theme. I probably am still biased towards Murky Coast, but there is vibes of Murky Coast here, lots of riverways, little inland lakes, fairly significant mountain ranges, and some nice buildable space here too. Oracle Lake is probably my favourite map that does come with the Plazas and Promenades expansion. It's not a bad one, this. And the last map that comes with the pack is Split Tributary, which is a European themed map with all of its outside connections and a 89% buildable area. Taking a look at the natural resources, again split pretty evenly across the board, if not for some slightly more interesting oil fields. They're all kind of worm shaped, very thin and narrow, which could lead to some interesting refinery builds. Taking a look at the terrain, it is pretty mountainous outside of your initial starting area, with huge mountain spaces to the northwest and the south. And there isn't that much room for fishing here just because of the size of the waterways, but for the water, it is very much salmon and anchovies. And Split Tributary is one of the nicer European themed maps, I have to say. It does again have some correlation to Northwood Hills, I think it's called, from the campus expansion, is it? And that kind of nice sort of rolling hill European themed map, you're going to be getting that here too. And you will also notice the usage of the new roads that we had a look at earlier. This one does come with the highway bus only lanes on it. It is the only one of the maps that does use the new roads, so I don't know why that is, but they're here if you want to enjoy some bus only highway action. Again, what we are seeing is more of these kind of fault line looking things that look like they want to be terraformed, so you can link the two waterways together, which would give you a nice little island here. We do also have some sort of trenches and turrets here, looking out over the highway. So some nice little vanilla detailing to be factored into a build potentially. Further down the waterways into the map, you will stumble across your outside rail connection, alongside more little spots of vanilla detailing, arriving at the old Faithful factory over here again, which has another intercity connection at the base of it. There is a little collection of inland lakes to the north of the map, although you are near the sort of map of war fog, if you like, towards here, so it could make building a little bit awkward, but there's definitely potential to use these little inland waterways for something cute. And there is a larger body of water over on the west side of the main mountain, which again runs alongside the highway, so there's lots of highway decoration opportunities along here. It sort of meanders around the base of this main mountain range, which again does have almost some waterfall vibes here that could be terraformed. A little freshwater outlet up here, and get some sort of mountain streams coming down into the main river. There's opportunities with this map. It definitely isn't the worst European one you're likely to experience. Also some more vanilla detailing up at the top of the hill. And then again, we also have another body of water up in the mountains, quite high up from the rest of the map. And we always have to appreciate a new custom interchange, don't we? It's quite an oversized sort of trumpet number, but it does the job, and it's not a horrible crap vanilla one, so we have to enjoy it. It's nice, does a job for us. So all the maps here have been fairly buildable besides Oracle Lake, which definitely has the most mountainous of the terrains, and Gondola Islands, which is mostly water, but still very buildable. Definitely not the worst European themed map you're ever likely to play. Some interesting interchanges and some nice water networks to make use of. I think you'd enjoy Split Tributary. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for our coverage of everything new that is coming with Plazas and Promenades. I did mention at the start of the video that we will be live in the Noob's Guide City to pedestrianise the downtown immediately after this premiere. So if you are watching live with us, then please do join us in the live stream. And equally as much, if you're catching this after the fact, then the live stream VOD will be available to watch back on the channel in its entirety. I have mentioned today that I am an instant gaming partner. Please check out the link. They're a really good seller and it helps support the channel, and you will find super cheap codes for all of your favorite games and DLCs, especially for Cities. So if you're missing anything specific, please head over to the link down below and check it out. It helps support my channel. So thank you so much if you do end up using it. In my opinion, Plazas and Promenades is definitely one of the better DLCs. The whole pedestrianized vibe leads to some very new, interesting possibilities, and there is a ton of new assets that come with this pack. So definitely one of the DLCs worth picking up in my opinion. Otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.